As of late, China has been the center of attention on the world stage. From the novel coronavirus outbreak beginning in a lab in Wuhan to bold moves and statements regarding the sovereignty of Taiwan, the Chinese have been largely notable in recent global events. Through all this, however, the United States has still tried to maintain a strong trade relationship with the country, regardless of agreement in politics or ethics. The reason being the immense value of the relationship between the two countries. According to Foreign Policy of the United States by Ernest Simon, U.S.-China economic ties have expanded substantially over the past 3 decades. Total U.S.-China trade has risen from $5 billion in 1980 to $409 billion in 2008. In 2008, China was the second largest U.S. trading partner, its third largest export market, and its biggest source of imports. This huge influence of Chinese trading relationships has influenced many facets of our lives as Westerners, as many companies strive to create products marketable in the United States as well as in China. These profitable relationships have been constrained as of late, as many of the commitments China had made in the past, such as a failure to fully integrate the standards of the World Trade Organization, those of which include safety standards for products and the protection of intellectual property. This leads us to the central foreign policy sticking point of several presidents, as they are unsure on how to handle the situation with China. China holds a large trading chip against the United States in the form of a massive amount of U.S. debt in the form of Treasury securities. This creates hesitance from U.S. firms to create content or products which could not be popular in the Chinese market. This is due to the massive influence of our trade relationship with the Asian nation. In 2016, President Obama passed a federal law legalizing gay marriage in the United States. Since then, the visibility and consideration of members of the LGBT community has grown and become much more accepted in the U.S. This has led to much more representation of the community in pop culture. In many cases, a sexualized character may lead to major plot beats within their respective stories. According to Chung To, a gay man from the episode LGBT by On China, that's why coming out to the family and, the closet, and getting pressure of getting married is a lot stronger here. This pressure stems from a huge bevy of factors, such as the child rule in China. By only allowing each family to have one child, the Chinese Communist Party has inadvertently highly incentivized marriage, as a stable family is very important to Chinese culture. This has led to the censoring of many Western films and other works which make their way over to China. By dumbing down the content which Americans produce, it creates a double standard in which is downplaying the importance of content featuring LGBT characters or plot moments. Another issue with the relationship is the fact that the amount of pollution the country produces is skyrocketing. As Kelly Sims Gallagher states in China Shifts Gears, Automakers, Oil Pollution, and Development, so traditionally oil was mainly used in industrial boilers. Partly because of the rising popularity of automobiles, both oil consumption and oil imports grew rapidly during the 1990s. By 2000, total Chinese automobile oil consumption equaled total oil imports at about 1.2 million barrels per day. This number of cars and barrels of oil produced are only on the rise in 2022. The refusal to adhere to global standards of monitoring pollution can be viewed as a statement of intent from the tirelessly advancing Chinese Communist Party. The point being, China is willing to cut some corners on their path to the top in terms of development, urbanization, and industry. Some ways to deal with these ever-pressing issues in our relationship with China would be to reduce the footprint of their trade in our own economy, therefore freeing ourselves from the leverage they possess on our ability to speak out about the infractions against the environment and against equality efforts which are important in the West. Another potential solution to some of the issues in our trade relationship with China would be to incentivize their entry into the World Trade Organization, whose standards being implemented would be a boon to the environmental and questionable working conditions in which China is notorious. A final solution to these issues would be to help solidify the future and sovereignty of Taiwan. This would help ease tensions between the states and China, as the U.S. considers Taiwan a sovereign territory, which in itself is an insult to the Chinese Communist Party. This creates This creates an immutable tension in our relationship with them, as it is against American values to agree to the subjugation and to ignore the liberty of a country, undermining the entire point of various Middle Eastern conflicts and bringing the true motives of participating in the conflicts into order. To conclude, the trade relationship between the United States and China is a huge boon to each nation in terms of money, influence, and prestige. However, this successful business venture between superpowers must not be viewed through strictly a monetary lens. The belligerent and non-conformal actions of China are not to be applauded. We must strive to find a middle ground between large earnings between business partners and not enabling the growth of a nation whose goal is to dismantle many of the key institutions that we rely on here in the West. Thank you for watching.